Well, good morning, leaders. I hope your Monday is incredible, or whatever day you might be watching this playback. But I just want to start this off by saying that it is such an honor and joy to have you a part of the Leadership Lounge in this season. I hope that you enjoyed the masterclass the other day on culture. And if you have not had a chance to watch that or send it to one of your friends, then be sure to go ahead and do so. I believe it's incredibly helpful and valuable content and information. And I believe it will take, if applied, your organization to the next level, which is what I know that we all want and we all endeavor to see. But so good to have you today on this Monday. And I'm going to talk today upon the thought of gratitude. And I plan on taking this a couple weeks or so and doing a couple exercises alongside you, with you. But I want to talk about gratitude. First of all, one thing that I hate more than most when it comes to, in the workplace, in leadership, is a bad attitude. I cannot stand a bad attitude. A bad attitude shows me as a leader that you have accepted the mindset that you feel like you have to do this versus you get to do this. There's a vast difference between the two. I can usually tell just in a couple of conversations with different coworkers and different leaders. If you had the mindset of I have to versus the mindset of I get to. I just want to remind all of us watching this today that the pressure that we feel in leadership is a privilege. It's an honor. I want us to remember the days that we longed for, the days that we're in now. And we must remember as well that part of the dream that we dreamt was hardship. There's going to be hardship. There's going to be pressure. But the hardship and pressure represents the privilege of leadership. So we must have I get to do this versus I have to do this or I got to do this type of attitude. I hate bad attitudes. They absolutely stink. You can smell them from a mile away. Bad attitudes suck. So now let's look at our personal leadership. Do we have bad attitudes in leadership? Or do we have an attitude of optimism, of gratitude? Can people sense that we are pessimistic or negative by our tones, by the tone of what we say, by the nonverbal cues, which is about 55% of communication? Do people, people, they can sense bad attitudes as well, just like you can, they can. And it's no fun when you serve a leader with a bad attitude. When you get on a call with them and you come across stressed or negative, or you're constantly making excuses, etc., they're not going to want to be under, our leadership too long if that is what we exemplify. Or they will as well accept in their own demeanor a bad attitude type of personality. And we don't want to replicate that in others. So let's just think about that for a minute. If we have a bad attitude and the leaders that we lead, also assume the bad attitude, that would just not be a culture that you desire. Surely that's not what you desired when you began in leadership, for other people to take on your attitude. And we can't have as a leader the mindset of, do as I say, not as I do. That's just poor leadership. That is poor leadership. Okay, so, and I haven't always had a great attitude with things. I have let the stresses of my day and the hardship of the season and the pressures get the best of me. And I have, leaked that out on others. Sure. But I have gotten much better at self-correcting. Now, I've still got ways to go, and I understand that, but I want to encourage us today to be positive, to be optimistic, to have a good attitude, a great perspective on things, to remember that pressure is a privilege. Okay. Everyone loves a positive leader. And we fuel our positivity by the attitude of gratitude. Okay. The attitude of gratitude. Gratitude matters. Remember, we get to do this. Man, I'm just grateful today that I woke up. I'm grateful that I have the position that I have. I'm grateful to have the life that I have. There's something every single day. There are at least a few things in all of our days that we can be grateful for. Every single one of us. No matter how tough the season is, we all have things to be grateful for. The fact that you even have the awareness to think right now through the things that you potentially are grateful for. We can be grateful that we have a sane mind to think through that kind of stuff. I mean, there's something that we can always be grateful for, right? Okay, so there are four things that gratitude does. Not just four things, but four things I want to bring awareness to today. Remember, these Monday calls are not always going to be revolutionary or revelatory. Sometimes they might be. Sometimes we might have an epiphany that shifts our complete mindset. But sometimes it's just about provoking awareness, which is extremely valuable as well. So today, on this Monday, I want to talk about what gratitude does. Gratitude, number one, helps you enjoy the journey. If we're going to be in this thing for the long haul, if we're going to last and have any sense of joy, we must be grateful. It helps our perspective. When we have a skewed perspective, when we're not being led by gratitude and by joy and by peace, everything that we see is skewed. Okay, so gratitude helps us enjoy the journey. Anybody who's been in leadership for a long time, and they have any sense of enjoyment in what they do, it's because they have fought for the perspective, the attitude rather of gratitude. They're grateful. I guarantee you they're grateful. Okay. If you don't believe me, go give it a shot. Find somebody that's happy, that's been in the game for a long time, and ask them about their perspective and their attitude of leadership. And I guarantee you that they'll just say, man, I'm just grateful I get to do this. You'll hear that through the lining of what they say. You'll sense, you'll hear that they're great, that they get to do what they do. Okay. So it helps you enjoy the journey. Why wouldn't you want to enjoy the journey? Leadership is tough. It's hard. It's full of all types of trial. So we might as well enjoy the journey. And of course, it's full of fulfillment and joy, and it can be full of happiness if we are grateful, which leads me to number two. It makes you happier. There's an actual science, a scientific study behind this. Have an attitude of gratitude actually makes you more optimistic and happier. There was a study that was done. I was listening to a podcast, and there was a study that was done. They took some 80-something-year-old people, and they took and they were all low-level pessimists. Okay. So they took these 80-year-old low-level pessimists, and they had them for 2 minutes a day for 21 days, for 3 weeks, meditate on a few things that they were grateful for. A few things over 21 days, 1 to 2 minutes, 80-something-year-old low-level pessimists. So they have been this way, that they claim, for 80-something years, low-level pessimists, since they can remember. They've seen the world through the lens of this cup is half empty. So low-level pessimists for 3 weeks had them meditate on a few things each day they were grateful for. And it actually shifted them into low-level optimists. An incredible study. So you might think you're hardwired to be a certain way, but you can rewire. Gratitude literally changes the vibrations, the frequency in your mind. It's a powerful, powerful mind hack and really life hack. You change your mind, you change your life, right? So for 21 days, they had them do this, and it absolutely changed their life. So it makes you happier. Gratitude, more optimistic. That's number two. Number three, it just simply makes you more likable. Likable as a leader, likable as a person. People are drawn to those who are positive. Even if they're negative, they're drawn to those who are positive. So it simply makes you more likable. That's number three. That's enough said on that. Number four, it affects all areas of your life, including your health. It actually affects your health. Gratitude affects your well-being, your health, your physical health is what I'm talking about. So there was another study. They took two different groups of people. They had one focus on negativity for a week, and they had the other group of people focus on positive things for a week. Okay, so for 1 week, two groups of people, negative focus and positive focus. And they did a case study over 10 weeks. These two groups of people, after studying negative and positive things for a week. And they did a case study of these two groups of people over 10 weeks. Those who focused on the positive visited the doctor significantly less than those who focused on the negative. How incredible is that? That it actually affects our physical health as well. I think the greatest thing that we can do for ourselves is to live life through the lens of gratitude, being grateful for what we have, not what we lack. I think a lot of our life can be spent on, we wake up with the mindset, I didn't get enough sleep. And then we fall asleep in that same scarcity saying, I didn't get enough done. And then we go to sleep, we wake up, I didn't get enough sleep. And then again, scarcity mindset. At the very end of the day, we say, I didn't get enough done. What if we wake up and say, I'm grateful for the peace of sleep. I'm grateful for the sleep that I had, that I got. And then when we lay our head in bed at night, we say, I'm grateful for what I accomplished this day. What it could do for your life and for the lives that you touch and you impact. Remember, leadership is much bigger than you. It's much bigger than us. How we lead ourselves is in direct correlation to the impact that we have on others. Lead yourself this week through the mindset, through the attitude of gratitude, locking in, being grateful for what you have, not what you sense you lack, because maybe what you have is simply enough. Maybe it's enough. All right. So there's an exercise, a challenge that I want to give for the next, until next Monday, for the next week. I want you every single morning to write down, actually write it down so you can see it. Okay. Write old school, write it down. Write down 3 things that you're grateful for. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be, a business win. It can be. That's great. But it could simply be, I'm grateful that I woke up today with my family in the house. I'm grateful for the 5 hours of sleep that I got. I'm grateful for the coffee that has been made this morning. I'm grateful that I get to go to my job. I'm grateful that I get to clean up the mess that my kids left in the back seat, because what that represents is the dream of having kids. So just write down 3 things every single morning before you leave your house, whatever that looks like for you. The sooner the better for what you are grateful for. Okay, that's the challenge for the week. Family, I love you dearly. Valor is up to some incredible things in this season, and we are so excited that you are a part. If you know anyone that could benefit from the lounge, or any other element of coaching that we offer, please let them know, send them our way. We would love to have a conversation and see if we are a fit for one another in this season. But in the meantime, go crush it. God bless you. We love you. Have an incredibly productive week. Go love on somebody. We'll see you next week.